This video is brought to you by our Happy Gut course.
Yo dudes!
Welcome to Aubergine Parmigiana.
So this is a classic take on the eggplant parmigiana, it's called, across the pond.
Eggplant!
It originates from Italy. It's taking aubergines, which many people think are awful, but that's because they haven't cooked them properly. So this is quite like a lasagna, but where aubergines function quite like the traditional pasta in it.
It's one of our favorite, it's one of the most popular recipes in our cafes. It really is. We've been making this one for years. This one is low FODMAP, so it's really good for your digestion. I'm going to explain more about that later.
It also happens to be vegan and gluten free. So this is epic and tastes fantastic. Here we go. First step, take 450 grams of aubergines and slice them into 1/2 centimeter rounds. Okay, next step, I'm taking 450 grams of sweet potatoes. I'm gonna chop them into thin slices, again about 1/2 centimeter thick, slice them. Add the sliced aubergine and sweet potato into separate bowls. We're gonna add in a generous pinch of salt and a tablespoon of oil into each.
Okay, so these are our favorite tools of all. So take your 10 favorite tools and
obviously
get them in a bowl.
make sure they're clean and get stuck in. I always think food is such a tactile experience, and just getting in gives that opportunity to add the secret ingredient. What's that, Dave? Love.
We've preheated the oven to 180 degrees. We're gonna pop in our trays of veg and we're gonna bake for 20 minutes approximately. Might take a little longer in your oven. Just bake them until they're nice and golden and charred.
Okay, time to make our tomato sauce. First step, we've got 1 leek. We're just using the green of the leek to keep this low FODMAP. Just slice it up nice and finely. And we've got a pan which we've heated nice and hot. We're gonna put in 1 tablespoon of oil. Once it's nice and hot, add in our leek. Next step, take a carrot and just grate it nice and finely. We're gonna add that into the pan with the leek and just give it a nice mix. Give that a little bit of time to cook down because we want it to brown ever so slightly. It just indicates more flavor development. Next step, take a chili. I'm gonna chop this nice and finely, and obviously if you like it less spicy, just remove the seeds. Add that into the pan, and again, just stir it through again and just try to get a little bit of browning going.
So we've added 150 ml of red wine. This will evaporate completely. All the alcohol will evaporate, so don't worry. It just enriches the veg. It'll add a depth of flavor to the sauce and make it delicious.
Okay, I know tamari is never in any Italian cooking. However, it gives that wonderful depth of flavor, that umami note. So do apologize to any nonna out there, any Italian person. However, this is a low fat version and this works great.
Low FODMAP.
Next step, take 400 grams of real tomatoes, take a serrated knife and just slice them nicely into small little dice. Take 200 grams of cherry tomatoes and chop them into 1/2 or quarters, and we're gonna add them into the pan. I think using fresh tomatoes just adds a little bit more texture and just gives it a little bit more bite and kind of structure to it. Finally, we're gonna add in 1 400 gram tin of chopped tomatoes. We're gonna bring that to the boil. As soon as that's nice and bubbling, just reduce it to a simmer and allow that simmer for 10 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally.
Okay, super important thing is to season your tomato sauce. So we're gonna use salt and black pepper just to
What's the most important tool for seasoning?
Your tongue.
Your tongue.
You're trying to balance the 5 flavor profiles. So we're gonna add a bit of salt and
just
black
give it a
pepper.
taste. First of all, give it a taste and just understand, is there enough salt in it? So, how's it taste?
Divine.
Does it need more salt?
No, it's pretty good.
Okay,
Maybe a
then.
pinch of salt, gram for black pepper.
Very tasty though.
Okay, a little pinch of salt.
Okay, what's happening next?
Next step, we're gonna make a bechamel. First step, into our saucepan, I'm adding in 4 tablespoons of olive oil or oil of choice. Take a sieve and we're gonna carefully spoon in 4 tablespoons of rice flour. Just sift it in nicely and we're gonna take a whisk and mix that through together. We're cooking this in a medium heat, cooking this for about a minute or 2, and what I'm trying to do is cook off that raw flour flavor. We're using rice flour here, however, just cooking it through, browning it is gonna bring more flavor to this sauce. Next step, we're gonna add in our milk. We have 500 ml of rice milk or almond milk to keep it low FODMAP, and just slowly add this in, stirring all the time just to kind of incorporate that roux. Now to start to season it. First step, we're taking a pinch of nutmeg, pop it in. I've got 1 bay leaf, in it goes. Nice little sprinkle of black pepper and a generous pinch of salt. Mix that through. Okay, add in the 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Obviously, if you don't have it, leave it out, but it does add a slight cheese note to it.
Okay, so just get your twin to take the veg out of the oven and you keep stirring the bechamel.
Okay, so important thing about your aubergines, make sure they've gone a little bit charred. They're just gonna add more flavor, and they should be kind of like soft, melt in your mouth.
Look at that. That's
That one's-
caramelized. That is properly cooked aubergine. That's what you're looking for. Okay, time to layer this up. So we've got our tray, casserole tray, which we're gonna serve it with. We've got our tomato sauce, we've got our bechamel, and we've got our veg. We're gonna show you exactly how to layer it
So the way we tray this up is kind of like a traditional lasagna. We're gonna lay in, intersperse this creamy bechamel through our kind of roasted veg and tomato sauce to make it epic. Okay, take our casserole dish. We're gonna take a nice kind of little bit of bechamel, probably about a third of it, and just evenly spread it out so we're covering a base layer of our casserole dish. Next step, we're gonna take our sweet potatoes and just try to cover them out so the base is really well covered. Take our tomato sauce, we're gonna pour it all in and spread it out evenly. That tomato sauce looks epic. On top of the tomato sauce, we're just gonna add a few basil leaves. Obviously, if you don't have basil, leave it out, but if you do, it just adds that subtle extra bit of flavor. Next step, we're gonna take our aubergines, also known as roasted eggplant, and we're gonna spread them out so there's a nice cover. And don't be afraid if the aubergines slightly overlap, because this is an Aubergine Parmigiana. Finally, we're gonna take our bechamel sauce, use a spatula and just scrape it all out. Do your best to spread it out and make sure it's all really nicely covered. Just top with some breadcrumbs and boom. Okay, we've preheated our oven to 200 degrees Celsius and we're gonna bake it until
for about 20 minutes, I'd say, until everything's cooked in it. So it's just to really crisp it up, to caramelize it and to concentrate the flavors.
Firstly, just to say thanks a mil for anyone who signed up to our online courses. I know during this pandemic, it's been hard. We've had to kind of restructure the business and the online courses have really helped keep our business going. Yeah. So thank you.
So this video is sponsored by our Happy Gut course, which has helped more than 10,000 people reach a happy gut. And it really has. It's rooted in science. We've partnered with a gastroenterologist and a dietitian and ourselves. It's all food-based. It's low FODMAP. So it's recipes like this that are really designed to improve your digestion, because more than between 10 and 20% of people suffer from IBS, from bloating, from poor digestion because they're not eating enough fiber. And this is 6 weeks to really improve your digestion, your health. It gets amazing results and we're doing it at 55% off.
And for those of you who don't know what a gastroenterologist is, like I didn't, it's a digestion doctor and it's our friend, Dr. Alan Desmond. He's a consultant gastroenterologist.
Yeah, so anyway, there's details down below, but we're gonna get back to the recipe now. Okay, so we've taken it out and we've left it here to cool slightly. Best way to cut it is with a scissors. It smells amazing, it really, really does.
And two things to note is that this just shows the importance of tray size. I prefer this one slightly prouder, slightly more kind of caramelized on top. Dave prepares this one. So whatever one, it's just to show that both work fine. It's just to work out, you know.
Okay, best implement to cut, as I said, is a scissors. We're serving this for 6 people, so just a straight line up the middle.
And Dave, why is the scissors the best thing to use?
Because if you use a knife, you won't get through each of the aubergines. They'll end up kind of dragging across the dish. So I'm cutting this in 6, so. Okay, here we have it. Low FODMAP, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan Aubergine Parmigiana, aka egg palm.
Okay, so the aubergines are soft, they kind of melt in your mouth. There's quite bang of spice up this tomato sauce.
Decadent, fantastic. This would make a wonderful centerpiece dinner.
Glorious, really delicious.
Wow.
Like incredibly tasty. I love
Sweet potato is not traditionally in an Aubergine Parmigiana, but it really just adds a nice sweetness, decadence. This is fantastic.
And it adds structure to it. It helps add starch that'll hold it together. The breadcrumbs are delicious on top.
Lovely, lovely.
Crunch.
Thanks for watching this video. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks for being part of this community. We have loads of other videos on this channel, so do check them out.
And sending lots of love. Cheers. Bye. Big thanks to our sponsor, the Happy Gut.
Yeah.